Right now, there are more than 10 million confirmed cases of coronavirus and 500,000 deaths. These figures are just estimates. The true toll is probably much higher, but it's clear that this pandemic is speeding up. Globally, the curve is steep and showing no signs of flattening, let alone falling. In the early days of the pandemic, it took 100 days to go from 0 cases to 1 million, then another 12 days to double to 2 million. In the past 7 days, cases grew by more than 1 million. The outbreak is worst in the USA and Brazil, and also accelerating in India and Russia. Tomorrow marks 100 days since Australia shut down because of COVID-19. It's been a hard slog for everyone, and now there are concerns that people are tiring of restrictions as Victoria deals with more cases by the day. Thousands of families across Melbourne are being tested to try to contain the virus, as Jason Om and Marty McCarthy report.
For Victorians, it feels like the start of the pandemic all over again.
It's really disappointing, to be quite honest. I feel like our restrictions have been quite strong. I feel like the message has definitely been out there to do the right thing.
It could be me today, but there is no reason why it couldn't be you tomorrow.
Testing stations have popped up in suburban streets, and the military is out in force in a bid to contain the continued growth in new cases.
It's a rapidly changing situation, and there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of anxiety in the community. It's difficult to get everything exactly right, but I think they're doing what they can.
Now, Merlin, it's up to you whether you want to be tested now.
Yeah, I just get it done, eh?
It's too close to home for Hannah and her son Merlin. The 16-year-old goes to Keilor Downs College, where there have been confirmed cases of COVID-19.
Hello, we've got some letters from the school about testing.
Yes, great. Just follow this car all the way down. You're in the fast lane.
Thank you.
The whole family is joining the queue at the Royal Melbourne Showgrounds, where mass testing is taking place.
We got through very quickly. It was very efficient. Everyone seemed to know what they were doing. They have all their routines down pat. The test is uncomfortable. You know, it's not my first choice of activity on a Thursday morning, but it's not that bad.
What I want you to do is open your mouth nice and wide for me. Dear, you are done and dusted.
Just
Back at home, Merlin's in isolation and getting creative with his mask.
I get a bit bored like in quarantine, so I decided to colour it in just because, it look heaps cool and it's just a good activity to pass the time in quarantine.
And he's urged everyone to get tested.
I was kind of freaking out that it might hurt, but then, when they did it, it was all good. But I'm a bit nervous about the fact that I haven't got my results back, which might mean that I might be infected, so a bit nervous about that.
New COVID cases have risen in the double digits across Victoria during the past 2 weeks. Now 100,000 COVID tests are being carried out in 10 hotspot suburbs around Melbourne.
Testing Blitz is a strategy to find every case in that part of Melbourne, whether people are symptomatic or asymptomatic. And it will tell us how much community transmission there is. Several of the recent diagnoses are linked to known family clusters. And we think this has largely started from quarantine hotels where people are returning from overseas with infection, people working in those hotels becoming infected and then taking it home, and it's spreading within families.
Family gatherings have been identified as a key source.
You do need to be vigilant even when you're with your own family, especially in larger family gatherings.
Communities from diverse cultures live in the hotspot suburbs, but the Victorian government won't confirm media reports that a Muslim gathering was responsible for some of the COVID clusters.
I don't want to be stereotypical, but I think that larger families potentially, and the notion of a very social culture, people coming together, people meeting and sharing things together, that's really challenging at the moment.
It's prompted Muslim leaders to step up their efforts to make sure community members are following the rules.
The Muslim community has suffered inordinately from scapegoating and stigmatising, and we are concerned that there is a blame game going on, and there are people are starting to point fingers.
This virus does not discriminate. We've seen, wealthy people, famous people, sports people being infected. Just because some community groups have larger family sizes than the average, it doesn't mean that entire cultural group is non-compliant.
In the northwestern suburb of Sydenham, the Webb family heeded the call to get tested.
We all got sick Tuesday night. We all started to feel unwell. It seems to be happening quite quickly in our area, so it was more just to be safe than sorry, really. Obviously, with the fear, you've just got to be really careful. We don't want to be the ones that cause a cluster. And we've isolated. My parents dropped some food off to us at the front door yesterday, so because we couldn't go shopping, so we just made sure that we were okay for the next 5 days.
And after a few days, the results are back.
COVID-19 virus was not detected on your swab, so you don't have corona.
I'm going away.
Okay.
Watch out.
It's a false alarm for the Webbs, but there are still thousands of tests across Melbourne.
I'm just hoping that with all the testing that's happening over the next week or so, that we can get on top of it, because it's very frightening to think that we might have to go back to how it was only a month ago.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.